welcome to Mathematics Store. In this video, I will explain Egyptian fractions. If you are seeing this channel for the first time, please kindly subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive notification anytime I upload a new video. Also, like, comment and share this video. What is an Egyptian fraction? An Egyptian fraction is the sum of two fractions whose numerators are 1 with different denominators. Instead of writing 11 out of 30, the Egyptians will write 1 out of 6 add 1 out of 5. Therefore, 1 out of 6 add 1 out of 5 is the Egyptian fraction of 11 out of 30. So the numerators of the two fractions could only be 1 and the denominator must be different. Therefore, the sum of 1 out of 6 and 1 out of 5 is the Egyptian fraction of 11 out of 30. Let's look into some examples. Example 1, find the Egyptian fraction of 3 out of 4. Already, you know that the numerators of the two fractions must be 1. So, the next thing we need to do is to find the different denominators. And these two fractions must add up to 3 out of 4. So the simple technique you can use is to find the product of 4 that add up to 3. That will tell you the denominators, okay? So if you have the product of 4, you have 1 by 4 and you have 2 by 2. So 1 and 4 is one pair, 2 and 2 is another pair. If you add 1 to 4, you get 5. If you add 2 to 2, you get 4. You can see that none of these pairs gives 3. So that means you cannot use this. So the option is to find a multiple of 3 out of 4. So the multiple of 3 out of 4 will be 6 out of 8. That is, you multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2. So that will be 6 out of 8, which is a multiple of 3 out of 4. So let's check this now. We need to find the product of 8 whose sum will be 6. So in this case, we have 1 by 8, that is 1 and 8, and you have 2 by 4. Of course, this one cannot be our answer, as this cannot be 1, okay, because this will give us a whole. So this is the second option. So 2 add 4 will be 6. So since the product of 8 is 2 times 4 and the sum is 6, so that means we're going to have 2 here and 4 here. So that is the simple logic you can use to get your answer. And I'm sure if you add these two fractions together, definitely we're going to get 3 out of 4. Let's look into another example. Example 2, find the Egyptian fraction of 2 out of 3. Of course, we know that we're going to have 1 out of something, add 1 out of something, and the sum should be 2 out of 3. So it is very simple. What you need to do is to find the product of 3 that will add up to 2. So the product of 3 will be 1 by 3. Of course, you cannot use this pair 1 and 3 because none of these could be 1. So that means we don't need to use this. So the next thing to do is to find the multiple of 2 out of 3 by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Let's start with 2. So 2 times 2, 4. Out of 3 times 2, that will be 6. So let's find the product of 6. Okay, that will be 1 by 6 and 2 by 3. Of course, we cannot use this because none of the denominators could be 1, so we can use this. Let's check this. So 2 and 3, if you add them together, you get 5. So this will not give us 4. That means we cannot use this. Let's find another multiple of 2 out of 3. In this case, we are using 3. That will be 3 times 2, 6. Out of 3 times 3, 9. So let's find the product of 9, whose sum will be 6. We have 1 by 9 and 3 by 3. So we cannot use this one because none of the denominators could be 1. And we cannot use this. Why? Because the denominators must be different numbers. Okay, even though the sum of this pair will give us 6, but we cannot use it as the denominators must be different numbers. Let's go to the next multiple of 2 out of 3. So that will be 4 times 2, 8 over 4 times 3, 12. So let's find the product of 12. We have 1 by 12, that's one pair. 2 by 6, that's another pair. 3 by 4, that's another pair. Of course, we cannot use this pair because none of the denominators could be 1. So this one is out of it. Let's check the next one. 2 add 6, that will be 8. So that means we're going to have 2 and 6 here. Okay, so the third one will not also work out because 3 add 4 will give 7. So that is the simple trick you can use. Let's look into another example. Find the Egyptian fraction of 5 out of 8. Of course, we know that the two fractions will be 1 out of something, then add 1 out of something, then the sum must be 5 out of 8. Now, let's find the product of 8. We have 1 by 8, 2 by 4. So let's check this pair. So of course, it can't be this pair because none of the denominators could be 1. So this one is out. So if you look at 2 and 4, if you add 2 to 4, you will get 6. And we need to get 5. That means we cannot use this one. So the next option is to find the multiple of 5 over 8 by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So let's start with 2 first. We have 5 times 2, 10. Out of 8 times 2, 16. So let's find the product of 16 that will add up to 10. We have 1 by 16, 2 by 8, and 4 by 4. Of course, we cannot use this pair because none of the denominators could be 1. Also, we can't use this one, okay, because the denominators must be different numbers. The only option we have for this fraction is 2 and 8. Let's see. 2 and 8 add up to 10. So that means we are good to use this pair. So this will be 2 and this will be 8. So of course, if you add these two fractions together and leave your answer in the simplest form, you should get 5 out of 8. Now let's look into the last one. We have 3 out of 16. So of course, we know that our answer will be 1 out of something, add 1 out of something, and the answer must be equals to 3 out of 16. So in this case, we need to find the product of 16, whose sum will add up to 3. So we have 1 by 16, we have 2 by 8, and we have 4 by 4. So you see that we can't use this one. Why? Because none of the denominators could be 1. And you can't use this one because the denominators must be different numbers. So the only option we have is 2 and 8. So, and there's no way 2 and 8 will add up to 3. So that means we cannot use this. So the next option is to find a multiple of 3 out of 16. So by multiplying it by the same number, by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So if you do that, you have 3 times 2, that is 6, out of 16 times 2, that will be 32. Okay, so you need the product of 32 that will also add up to 6. So in this case, we have 1 by 32, then we have 2 by 16, we have 4 by 8. Okay, so of course we can use this one. There's no way 16 and 2 will add up to 6, and there's no way 4 and 8 will add up to 6. Okay, so that means you can use this multiple. So you continue to test and test. If you multiply by 3, that's going to have 3 times 3, then 16 times 3. Okay, so that will not go. Okay, so you continue to try it until you get to the one that will work out. Okay, and that is 8. If you multiply 3 and 16 by 8 respectively, so that one will work out. That is, we're going to have 3 times 8, that is 24, out of then 16 times 8, that will be 128. Okay, so if you find the product of 128, we're going to have 16 times 8, we're going to have others too, but this pair is the needed one, as 16 add 8 will give you 24. So that means we're going to have 8 here and we have 16 here. Of course, if you add these two fractions and leave your answer in its simplest form, you will surely get 3 out of 16. So this is what the Egyptians do. Instead of writing 3 out of 16, the Egyptians will write 1 out of 8 add 1 out of 16. Okay, and